All right, so we are on Unit 4, Day 10 notes. These are your objectives up top, as always. Um, Many problems have multiple objectives in them, so don't be scared by that. But these are all the objectives you're going to be going over. If you have any issues on Alex, look up the objectives and they should match. Okay, so the first problem for each inequality, choose a statement that describes its solution. Um, if applicable, give the solution. All right, let's do that. All right, so let's start here on the left-hand side. 5, 7 minus u plus 5u less than or equal to 36. We're going to start by distributing. 5 times 7 is 35 minus 5u plus 5u less than or equal to 36. Now, if you see here, they're on the same side of the inequality, so we're going to combine like terms. Negative 5u, positive 5u, they actually look like they cancel each other out, okay? So it looks like 35 is less than or equal to 35. Now, this situation does happen at times, and that is where you have the answer as either no solution or all real numbers. When the variable cancels out, that is exactly what's going to happen. You're either going to have a no solution situation or you're going to have a all real numbers situation. So if the answer you get is true, so 35 is less than or equal to 35 because it's actually equal to 35, then your answer is going to be all real numbers. If the answer you get here is untrue, the answer will be no solution. So in this case, 35 less than or equal to 35 is actually true. So our answer would be all real numbers. Okay. All right, let's try the next one. It has negative 2 parentheses y plus 5 plus 28 is less than 4 parentheses 3 minus y. We're going to first start by distributing on both sides. This becomes negative 2y minus 10 plus 28 is less than 12 minus 4y, because when I multiply there. Combine like terms when they're on the same side. This negative 10 and positive 28, okay? It looks like negative 2y plus 18 greater than 12 minus 4y, okay? I'm going to add 4y. I've done this a lot in this unit, so make sure you go back and pay attention if you don't get it, okay? I'm going to get the y's on the same side, and I'm going to get rid of the constant on the side with the y. So negative 2y plus 4y is 2y. I did not change my sign because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative number. And then we have negative 18 plus 12, or 12 minus 18 is going to give me negative 6. Divide by positive 2, which means I'm not flipping my sign because I divided by positive on both sides. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So this one would be y is greater than negative 3. This one would actually be my answer here. Okay, perfect. All right, let's move to the word problems. I always hated word problems growing up, but I find that if you take your time, take a breath, you will understand them, you'll get them, okay? And definitely practice makes perfect on these. All right, so for your phone search, and again, please print these out so that you can kind of go over them with me. And then if you had to do one on your own, you could like pause the recording and do it. And of course, go back and look at the key to make sure that you get the correct answer. But it is very beneficial if you do try a couple on your own. So that's why some of them are starred and some are not. All right. All right, let's look at the first one. For her phone service, Kiko pays a monthly fee of $14 and she pays an additional 4 cents per minute of use. The least she has been charged. That's a big one. The least she has been charged in a month is $67.16. What are the possible numbers of minutes she has used in her phone in a month? Okay, so M is for minutes. Make sure you're using M as the variable in this case. Okay, so let's set this up. It looks like she pays a flat fee of $14 and then 4 cents per minute, so 0.04 per minute. Okay, but it says the least she has been charged. That means she's been charged more. Okay, um, or actually this can be an actual number that she has been charged, but she has been charged only more than this number or more. So that's why we're going to have greater than or equal to in this case. Okay. And then 67.16 is the least she had been charged. So you have to know how to set it up. That's what's important. All right. So we're going to solve this problem for M. I'm going to subtract 14. I have 6716 minus 14. Okay, 5316. So 5316. I did not change my sign. I'm bringing down the 0.04 m, and I'm going to divide by 0.04 to get m by itself, and it's positive. So since I'm dividing by positive, I keep the sign the same. M is greater than or equal to 53.16 divided by 0.04. And I get 113, looks like 1329. Okay. So in that case, what is it asking you for? Basically, 1,329 minutes or more. Okay, or more is what she has been using a month. So 1329 or more minutes. So that's why M, the minutes she used, is greater than or equal to 1329 for that as an answer. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. To rent a certain meeting room, a college charges a reservation fee of $48, an additional fee of $6.40 per hour. The math club wants to spend at least less than. So they want to spend less than $92.80 on renting the meeting room. And luckily they say less than because you hopefully can just put the less than sign. What are the possible amounts of time for which they could rent the meeting room? Use, it looks like T for the number of hours. The meeting room is rented, and solve your inequality for T. Let's go ahead and get this problem on our paper, and then we can solve it. $48. Okay. And then the additional is $6.40 per hour. So we're going to put T. Less than, that's how much they want to spend, $92.80. Okay. They want to spend less than that. So they don't want this to be more than the 92. All right. So let's go ahead and solve it. Subtract 48 first. So we get 640. T is less than. I'm going to have 9280 minus 48. My answer is 4480. 44.8. And then I'm going to divide that by 6.40 or 6.4. So T is going to be less than, divided by 6.407. So with this one, the math club wants to spend less than this much money. The number of hours is, the time has to be less than 7 hours. Okay, so anything less than 7 hours, not including 7 hours, is how much time they're going to want to spend in the meeting room to spend less than $92.80. All right, let's go to the next one. Ali is going to rent a truck for one day. There are two companies that he can choose from, and they have the following prices. Company A charges $88 and allows unlimited mileage. Company B has an initial fee of $55 and charges an additional 60 cents per every mile driven, for every mile driven. For what miles will Company A charge less than Company B? So Company A less than Company B, for how many miles is that? Let's put the problem together and then we can see. All right, so Company A charges $88. I'm going to put $88 for Company A. Less than, and then it says Company B has $55 plus 0.6 per mile, and they wanted us to use M for the variable. So I'm going to subtract 55 from both sides. Okay. 33.60 M, divide by 0.60 or 0.6 on both sides. And this becomes 33 divided by 0.60 or 0.6. And it looks like we get 55. Okay. Now, I would like to, this is pretty clear to me, but it might be unclear. Usually if you put the M, and remember it's open towards the M, so if you switch the side of the M, you have to, we're not switching, it's still open towards the M. So if we move the M to the left-hand side and it's open towards the M, it has to still be open towards the M. If it's open away, it has to still be open away. So this case, we can kind of look at it a little better to understand what it's saying. It's basically saying the miles have to be less than 55, greater than 55, okay? Greater than 55 for Company A to charge less than Company B, okay? So if you're driving more than 55 miles, then you might want to use Company A. But if you're driving less than 55 miles, you might want to use Company B because it'll be less expensive. Okay. All right. So the last one, I want you to kind of try on your own. It's the same type of problem as the one right there. Very, very similar. All right. Next problem is absolute value. There's a couple of things you need to understand about absolute value. Absolute value cannot be on a side by itself, kind of like here, cannot be on this, just the absolute value equal to a negative number. Your answer, on the other hand, cannot be negative for absolute value, but in these type of problems, you will see what I mean when you see that these problems have two answers every single time, okay? So for absolute value here, when you have a problem that says the absolute value of X is equal to a positive number, which it is, you're going to take whatever's outside of the absolute value, have it equal to a positive number, or have whatever's inside the absolute value equal to a negative number. And as you see, when I take it out, I have to take it outside the absolute value. And when I do, it's equal to a positive and equal to a negative. When you have the absolute value equation, that is how it's going to look. Okay, so your answer are these two. Okay, and how do you know that to be true? If I put 7 in for X, the absolute value 7 is positive 7. When I put negative 7 in for the absolute value of 7, it still is 7. So both of these answers are true. Okay, 7 equals positive 7, negative 7 equals positive 7. That's how we know that these two answers are solutions for this problem. And as you see, I took it outside the absolute value when I was solving. So in this situation, it says the absolute value of W is negative 8. This, when you have an absolute value by itself and it's equal to a negative number, it is no solution. Okay, no solution. Why? Because no number you put in here is going to give you negative 8 on the outside. Okay, no number you put in here. As opposed to this particular situation, this is not an absolute value equal to a negative number. Okay, I took it outside the absolute value and said it's equal to a negative, because when I put it in, when I put negative 7 in here, it does come out to be a positive number. Okay, so this is no solution. Let's try this. You have the absolute value of Y plus 13 is equal to 13. We need to get this absolute value by itself so that we can see what we're working with, okay? So I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. I get the absolute value of y is equal to 13 minus 13, which is 0. And when you do that, your answer is y equals 0. How? Because 0 is neutral, okay? Since 0 is neutral, you can't have a positive and negative of the number, so you're just going to have one solution when you have an absolute value equal to 0. You'll have one solution when you have a letter, an absolute value of a letter equals 0. You're going to have one solution. Or even if you have an actual equation in here, you'll solve and have it equal to 0, and then you'll have one solution. Not always equal to 0, but it's going to be one solution there, okay? So let's see here. The absolute value of 3y plus 12 equals 9. So we have the absolute value equal to a positive number, which can happen. So we're going to take it out of absolute value. 3y plus 12 equals 9. Or, and again, no absolute value is in this problem that I'm solving. 3y plus 12 equals negative 9. Again, no absolute value. So you're taking it out. Once you realize that it's absolute value equal to a positive number, you're taking it outside of the absolute value and solving and getting your answers. So in this case, subtract 12 from both sides. You have 9 minus 12, which is negative 3. So this becomes 3y equals negative 3. Divide by 3 and get y equals negative 1. So that is one of your solutions, negative 1. In this case, you're going to subtract 12 from both sides. So we have negative 9 and then plus negative 12, okay? And you get 3y is equal to negative 21. Divide by 3. Y is going to be equal to negative 7. So your answers basically for this one is y is equal to negative 1 or y is equal to negative 7, okay? Either one is true. How do you know they're true? If you replace here, let's say 3 times negative 1 plus 12 equals 9. So if I put that in my calculator, 3 times negative 1 plus 12. So in this case, it'll be the absolute value of 9 equals 9, and that is true, okay? The absolute value of 9 equals 9, so 9 equals 9. That is true. Check, okay? Now, for the next one, if I put negative 7 in for y, so let's say I put 3 times negative 7 plus 12 equals 9. Do that. And this is just me checking to make sure I have the correct answer because they both should come out to be true. This will give me absolute value of negative 9 equals 9, which is absolutely true. The absolute value of negative 9 is 9. So 9 equals 9. Both of these answers are true when I put them back into the problem. But as you see, when I'm getting my answer, I take them out of the absolute value. Okay, that's important to know. I see that mistake happening all the time. All right. Again, here, if you have an absolute value equal to 0, absolute value equals 0, you know you're going to get one answer. You're going to have one solution as opposed to back here. When we did this, we had two solutions. Okay, when we had absolute value equal to a number, positive number, we're going to more than likely get two solutions. In this case, it's an absolute value. So basically the absolute value of 5y plus 15, that's absolute value, by the way. Okay, equals 0. You're going to take it outside of the absolute value to solve for it. And 0 is neutral, so you can't have the negative on the side. So subtract 15. 5y equals negative 15. Divide by 5. Y is equal to, looks like negative 3. So you're only going to have one solution there. When you put it back in, it should give you the correct answer. Okay, good. All right, so a problem like this, what you're going to do, 7, absolute value of x minus 5 equals 70. In order to solve these problems, you have to get rid of this extra number. Okay, you cannot distribute. No, no, no. In this case, you want the absolute value by itself. Okay, So in order to do that, I'm going to divide by 7 on both sides. I'm going to get rid of this number here. Okay. So the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 10. 7d divided by 7. Now that I have the absolute value equal to a positive number, I'm going to solve it by taking x minus 5 out of the absolute value. 1 is equal to positive, or x minus 5 equals negative 10. Okay? Add 5. One of your values is 15. And then add 5 here. The other value is negative 5. Okay? These are your solutions for this problem. I have 2 solutions with absolute value for the most part. Okay, try that last one on your own. Should warrant a good answer. Pretty straightforward, kind of like the one we just did. And then finally, let's take a look at these last 2 together. Okay, if there's one solution, separate them with commas. Let's try to solve this one. So we have negative 3, the absolute value of 4y plus 7 equals 81. I'm going to get rid of this negative 3 by dividing. I'm not going to distribute. No, no, no. I'm going to divide by negative 3. So this now becomes the absolute value of 4y plus 7 equals 81 divided by negative 3. Looks like it's negative 27. So negative 27 here. Now, if you have your absolute value equal to a negative number, absolute values by itself equal to a negative, your answer is no solution, and they will trick you with that. So be aware of that. No solution when you have an absolute value by itself equal to a negative number. No solution there. Okay. All right. Let's look down here. The absolute value of 3u minus 6 plus 7 equals 40. Now we're going to try to get the again the absolute value by itself first. Subtract 7. You get the absolute value of 3u minus 6 equals maybe 33 there. Okay. 40 minus 7 is still 33. All right, so now that we have that, we need to get the variables out of there. So we have an absolute value equal to a positive number. Okay, absolute value by itself equal to a positive number. We can take 3u, I'll put it here, 3u minus 6 equals positive 33, or 3u minus 6 equals negative 33. Okay, add 6 to both sides. 3u equals 39. And of course, divide by 3 because we're trying to get u by itself. U equals 13. Okay, so we have that for our answer for u, for one of them. Let's add 6 to this side. So we have negative 33 plus 6, and we'll have negative 27. So 3u equals negative 27 on this side. Divide by 3 there. U is going to be equal to negative 9. So we have 2 different solutions for our u, for our absolute value, and that is how you're going to figure that out. Remember that one, absolute value equal to negative, no solution. You only have to keep doing it, okay? But make sure you're paying attention to that because you'll get caught up. All right, that is the end of our unit 4, day 10 notes. I want to say that next is the review.